Hi, my name is Paul Van Rysel and I am president of Inspire You Educational Systems. I'd like to start out by asking a very simple question. Have you ever had those times in your life when you've sort of sat back and reflected a little bit and kind of wondered what life might have been like if I'd made a different choice, a different decision? You ever had those moments of regret and kind of wished, oh gee, if I'd only done that. I had the opportunity, but I didn't. You've had those moments when you look down at the telephone and you picked it up and you dialed that number and you wanted to talk to that special person, and just before the answer, you put the phone back down. Have you ever had those moments when you wanted to maybe join a particular team or a club or an association, or you wanted to try out for that play, or it doesn't really matter, those things that you just really wanted to try, you know, and you became, instead of becoming a participant, you were just a spectator and wished, oh, I wish I had done that. Well, what I'm here today to talk about over the next several minutes is, what is it that's stopping you from doing the things that you were meant to do, the things you're passionate about doing, and yet for some reason you're just not doing it. You're not living the life that you were meant to live. And I think part of the problem is in order to make any kind of change in your life, you have to raise your level of awareness. You have to understand and to be able to articulate what it is exactly that's holding you back. So, without any further ado, I'd like to talk about, first of all, one of my favorite topics, and it is the one thing that controls most of us and a lot of the things and stops us from doing. And that's a simple, the four-letter word is fear. Now, I love talking about fear. Doing this video tape, for example, was, I'll be truthful, a little bit fearful. Fear, and I love the definition that I've heard recently about, is fear is the anticipation of pain, discomfort, humiliation, being laughed at. Now, the key word in this definition is the word anticipation. Now, anticipation. Anticipation, is it a future tense word, a past tense word, or a present tense word? Well, it's a future tense word. Now, we're going to look at fear on two different levels. One, we're going to look at it from a logical point, and the second part, we're going to look at an emotional point. And then I'm going to give you some strategies to how to overcome your fear. So, let's go back to the logical point of fear. Ask yourself the question, is it logical to be afraid of something that hasn't happened yet? Well, the answer is no. Where is that story of how it could turn out? It's a reality that does not exist. The only place it exists is in your head. Now, but where is that fear based? The fear is actually based in another dimension that no longer exists as well. That's in the past. So ask yourself the question, how can I be afraid of something that hasn't happened yet, and yet I'm looking in another dimension that no longer exists, is in the past? So you're not staying present to the moment. Now you may say, but wait a minute, but this fear thing, although maybe in my head, manifests itself as being something real. And how does it normally show up? Well, it's the queasiness in the stomach, it's the cramps in the stomach, it's the lips starting to quiver, it's the blood pressure starting to go up, it's the sweating of the palms, the nervousness. Okay. It is real. It does affect us emotionally and physically. Now the question becomes is, how do I overcome this fear? Now, let me go back and I want to share a story with you. When my wife was young, her parents took her to go for swimming lessons. And for whatever reason, she happened to fall into the deep end of the pool. And at that particular moment in time, it was a very traumatic experience. She thought she was drowning. I'm sure if any of you have ever experienced that, you know the feeling of what it's like, this helplessness of not being able to touch the bottom and gasping for air. People dove into the pool, grabbed her out, and she was terrified. But the moment they put a warm towel around her and dried her off and got her changed and in the arms of her parents, she was no longer in danger. But what happened from that point forward? She played that story over and over and over and over in her head. So anytime she came in the vicinity of water, whether it be at the lake or a pool or in the ocean or sailing or on a boat, it triggered that fear again. Now, one of the things about fear, remember I told you, in order to bring about a change, you have to change your awareness of what it is. Now, fear is very interesting. Fear will do one of two things. Fear will rather control you, or you can control it. Now, in this situation with regards to my wife, the fear has been controlling her. Now, this event happened years ago, but she's still being controlled by that 7-year-old. Now, you ask yourself the question, you are now whatever age that you happen to be in, no matter whatever fearful situation you're in, you're not the same person that you were when it happened in your past. So, if we look at what it cost my wife, it cost my wife almost a whole lifetime of enjoying the water because she's being controlled by the experience. Now, to bring this forward here, I want to ask you a question. Remember when I said she played the story over and over and over in her head? Now imagine sitting on your sofa and you're watching a movie. You're sitting down here about 15 minutes in the movie and you kind of go, this isn't very good. I don't like the movie. So what do? You pick up the remote and you change the channel. You change the channel to a different movie. Well, what I'm about to show you is it's the same thing. You've been playing that same dreadful movie in your head over and over and over and over again, and it continues to control you, when in actual fact all you need to do is to pick up the remote and just change the channel to something different. Because if you're anticipating something that's going to happen, and it's in a dimension that doesn't exist except in your head, why not change what's in your head to give you a different story? Now, one of the things that you can do is, when I said we get back to the emotional piece of this, is that when you get into a situation when you want to do something and you can feel and anticipate that fear coming on, instead of trying to relinquish the fear or put it out of your mind, acknowledge the fear for what it is. And then say these powerful words, I choose not to let you control me. And then do this. I want you to feel the fear, acknowledge it for what it is, and then step into it. Your greatest success, my greatest success, lies beyond my greatest fears. We need to step into it. Feel the fear, and then step into it. Now, the next thing you need to do, which is very, very important to it, is you have to make a decision. You have to decide. You have to decide that this is something that you really want to do. You have to decide that you want it more than what the fear is. Because the moment you give your power to the fear, you become powerless. You have to make a decision. And I was recently, someone explained this to me. They asked the question, what's more powerful, a goal or a decision? And I never really thought about that distinction before, but I instinctively said a goal is more powerful than a decision. And they actually said, no, it's not. Actually, the decision is more powerful than the goal. Because without a decision, you just have a goal. So when you finally make that decision, then you're able to use the goals in order to help you with your decision. So, 1 is recognize the fear. Feel the fear, do it anyways. 2, make a decision. This is what you want. 3 brings you to my next step. Is create a goal. And not just any goals. I have a little acronym here. They're called SMART goals. Now, some of you may have heard of them before, but I'll just briefly go over them. So a SMART goal is this. The S stands for specific. So the goal has to be specific. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's say, for example, you had the goal that you wanted to lose weight. Okay, well, that's not specific enough. I want to know exactly how much weight that you'd like to lose. Let's say, for example, you wanted to you say, I'd like to make more money. Well, again, that's not specific. How much more exactly? How much X amount of money do you want to earn every week or every month or in a year? So be very specific with your goals. Next one, the M stands for measurable. We have to have some way to measure your progress. And when you're able to write it down and keep a daily or weekly or monthly progress, the goals, the chances of you succeeding in your goals, it increase substantially. Next one. Attainable. A, attainable. Is the goal reasonably attainable for you to succeed? Now, I don't really like the word reasonable, or what's the other word I was thinking about? Realistic. But let's say, for example, if you bought a brand new set of skis or snowboarding and you head up to the mountain for the first time, you've never been there, maybe your realistic goal isn't to be, by the end of the day, to be able to do a double black diamond run, but perhaps maybe by the end of the day that you can stop on your own, perhaps make it down the bunny hill without falling. That might be a reasonable goal for you. The next one is R. R stands for relevant. So the goal should be relevant to what it is you're really passionate about doing. If it has no relevance, then there's no really point in doing it. The last one is T. Attach a timeline to it. So say, by such and such a date, I will have whatever it is your particular goal is. Now, another key point about your SMART goals is just write them down. Not only write them down, but share them with somebody. Write them down and post them somewhere that you can see. You can read it first thing in the morning and last thing before you go to bed at night. What your mind focuses expands. Okay, so keep the goals specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and a timeline. Now, the next thing, isn't it probably one of the most important of all, is after you've created your goals, the goals without this next step are irrelevant. This is to take action. You must take action. And don't be too concerned about the results. The results will come in by taking the action itself. Take the action. Feel the fear. Do it anyways. Okay? Make the decision. Have your goal. And then step into it. Now, the last piece to kind of try and bring it all together is this. I heard an interesting saying this the other day. It said, you have to do it on your own, but you... No, that isn't it. You have to do it yourself, but you can never do it alone, which I really quite liked. The last piece in this is you create your love posse. Now, what's your love posse? Your love posse is surrounding yourself with positive people. Surrounding yourself with the people who believe in what you want to believe in. And it's also separating yourself from the Daisy Downers, the negative Nellies in your life, the people that sort of suck the energy out of you, the people who laugh at you and think what you're doing is ridiculous and crazy. You don't need those people in your life. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with the people that will encourage you and inspire you to do the things that you were meant to do. Now you may sit there and go, well, I really don't have people like that in my life. Well, that may be true. But find those people in your life that you want to aspire to. Read their autobiographies. If they have a Facebook page, be on their fan page. If they have a blog, see what they blog at. Read, find out as much as you possibly can. Find out other people who are doing the things that you want to do. Surround yourself with the right individuals. So, I hope this has kind of helped you overcome situations when you get to the point where I really want to do something. I would encourage you, again, to look at fear, anticipation of pain, or discomfort. Anticipation, pick up the channel, change the channel. It's the anticipation of something great happening. Okay? Again, make a decision. What is it that you want to do? Create your goals, right? Take action. And last but not least, surround yourself with a powerful, influential group around you. With that, I'd like to thank you very much, and stay tuned for other tapes and clips that will be coming your way, and enjoy your week. Cheers.